So we have some breaking news that in a brand new Massachusetts poll, Bernie Sanders is absolutely crushing Elizabeth Warren on her home turf. In this poll, Bernie Sanders is at 25%. That is 8 points ahead of Elizabeth Warren, who's in second at 17. Pete Buttigieg has 14, Bloomberg 13, Biden 9. But the swing from Sanders and Warren is what really matters here. Bernie is plus 12 and Warren is minus 15, meaning that's a 27-point swing from Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders since the last time this poll has been done. That's a gargantuan movement between the top two candidates. And what this shows is that Elizabeth Warren is in no way competitive to win the actual nomination. If she's losing her home state and losing it by such a large margin, it doesn't really bode well for her ability to compete meaningfully for enough delegates to actually win a nomination. She just doesn't have the level of support. This is her home state again, guys. She's a senator there. These are the people, the Democratic base, who go and vote for her to put her in the Senate, and they're picking Bernie Sanders nearly 10% more than they're picking her. It shows that Elizabeth Warren isn't inspiring people, the people who know her best, the people most likely to support her in a very progressive, very highly educated state. Again, Warren does well with liberal, highly educated voters. They're rejecting her in favor of Bernie. They're moving away from her and towards Bernie. This is a state tailor-made for Warren, and she's tanking it. And so you have to ask yourself, what the heck is Elizabeth Warren doing even running anymore? And the only logical explanation, guys, is she's trying to hurt Bernie Sanders. And I don't like saying that because, as you guys know on this channel, I have often been a fan of Elizabeth Warren, far, far less so than Bernie, but I've always given her a decent amount of praise because for a long time, I saw her as a progressive champion. Not a democratic socialist like Bernie and like myself, but as a progressive, a committed progressive. And over the months and months of this campaign, I've grown more and more disillusioned with Elizabeth Warren. And now I'm at a stage where I can't help but think that everything Warren is doing is a desperate attempt to try to get back in the race, but she knows she can't do it, so she's hurting Bernie Sanders in the process. Because all she can hope to do is poach a few Bernie voters here and there. Not enough to actually be competitive, but enough to steal delegates from Bernie Sanders. Enough to help the superdelegate and neoliberal candidates to build an anti-Bernie coalition at the convention. That's all she can really hope to do if she's polling in a distant second in her home state, which again is a state tailor-made for Warren to succeed in. Why is she doing this? Maybe Elizabeth Warren is bitter that Bernie Sanders has captured progressive support. Maybe Elizabeth Warren blames everybody but herself for her own campaign failures. When she flip-flopped on Medicare for all. When she basically took progressive positions and saw real rises in the polls last fall and last early winter, last late summer. And now, as she's brought on more neoliberal advisors to her campaign and she's gotten more desperate, she's attacked Bernie, lied about Bernie, refused to attack people like Joe Biden in any meaningful way. And this is where we're at. She's tanking in the polls nationally. She's tanking in her home state. Bernie Sanders is mopping up her support because genuine progressives are leaving Warren, and she's lashing out. And we know this because of her desperate flip-flop on super PACs. Elizabeth Warren, for months and months, was going on and on about how she didn't like super PACs. She wasn't going to use super PACs. And just last week or so, in a fully desperate mode because her campaign didn't have any money, she basically said, I'm fine with super PACs now. And she lied about her rationale. She said, everyone else has them. I need them too. Well, first of all, Liz, you never made that caveat last year. You never said, I will not have a super PAC, but if some people do by 2020, I will change my mind and get one then. She didn't say it like that. She said, I will never have one. She never said, I will not have one if other people don't have one. And further to that, she likes to make these false claims that Bernie Sanders also has super PACs, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. Under any technical definition, you might see Bernie Sanders having outside groups supporting him, like nurses and young people, working class people. But it doesn't at all compare to the true blue super PAC that Elizabeth Warren has, that's spending $12 million goddamn dollars on Super Tuesday ads for Warren, and we don't know where the money is coming from. If you look at reporting, they refuse to tell us. So when Bernie gets donations from nurses, you know where that money comes from? From goddamn nurses doing nursing work, working class people doing working class things with working class interests. Where does Warren get her $12 million? Who the F knows? We don't know. They will never tell us because they do not have to and they do not want to. Warren is not getting that money from true blue progressives. There's no way. There's no way that money is coming from the sort of people that are Warren and Sanders supporters. Warren is getting this money right now in a desperate attempt to float her campaign, because if she drops out, the plurality, a strong plurality of her supporters will go to Bernie, and that will hurt the chances of a Biden or a Bloomberg beating Bernie or winning a contested and brokered convention. That's what Warren's purpose is right now. Guys, I hate saying that because I liked Elizabeth Warren a lot, but the more and more I see of this, the more and more it smells rotten, guys. That's simply where we're at. Elizabeth Warren is in danger of losing her home state. Elizabeth Warren can't actually raise any money herself, so she's turned to shadowy super PACs, just like Buttigieg and Biden and all the rest. She's doing the same things that she's criticized the super PAC candidates and the billionaire candidates for. And all she can say is that Bernie's doing it too, when she goddamn knows there's no comparison between nurses and students and working class people giving what they can, and between a shadowy super PAC who will never tell us where the money's coming from and what the people who are giving the money actually believe is the best path forward for America. Bernie Sanders is the only genuine choice for progressives. And I really do believe that if you're currently supporting Warren, I get why you support Warren. But you have to ask yourselves, what purpose is she serving right now, losing in her home state, getting $12 million from a super PAC, poaching Bernie votes, a little bit here, a little bit there? What purpose is that serving but to help put a neoliberal on the ticket?